If you click this video, you most likely clicked it because you are tired of dimming your light so that you can be liked by others. You know, I say that as light is flashing in my eyes. I feel like what I just said is so cliche now. The whole don't dim your light, right? Just shine. But it's easier said than done. It's easier said than done because if you have people-pleasing tendencies like I do, then they're very subtle in the way that they creep in. But what's helped me the most in overcoming that is deepening the connection I have with myself. And deepening the connection I have, even more importantly, with my innermost self, which you can call God. Right? The innermost self is the one that is most deeply connected to God. Or what most people know of as God. Right? You could say the universe or whatever you want to call it. Excuse me, it's late and I need to be heading home after this, but I did want to share this message with you that, especially now that we're, tonight is an eclipse, right? September 6, 2025. Supposedly it's an eclipse if I'm not mistaken. So I want to remind you that you don't need to keep eclipsing your own light so that others can feel like comfortable around you, right? It would be much better for us to shine unapologetically so that we may inspire other people to shine with us. But see, that takes courage, first and foremost. That takes a courage to shine as who you are, as who you've become, as who you think yourself and feel yourself to be, unapologetically. And if people get offended, well, we can talk about it. But if you're just gonna be a little bitch about it and just not even bring it up and just be offended in your little corner, then there's nothing I can do, right? All I could do is shine. You know, I'm getting this feeling that a lot of us are moving toward a sense of sovereignty over the collective opinion of us, right? A lot of us may be part of a collective or recently left a collective or something like that. So, with that said, if that's the case, then I think there's great value in perhaps not completely leaving the collective, especially if you feel like you've derived or keep deriving great benefit from it. But feeling like excuse me, I'm like in Miami Beach and I'm distracted by things I'm not supposed to be distracted by. I'm human. So if you continue to derive a lot of benefit from the collective and it's a symbiotic relationship, then you don't need to necessarily leave them. But I think establishing your own sense of self first, right? Your own internal foundation first, that is then built on by the collective, that would be much more beneficial, as opposed to having your foundation be the collective opinion about you. Right? Because if that's the case, well then if the collective opinion about you turns sour, then your entire world is in shambles. And I was never even really that type, but recently I feel like maybe you all have been through an experience recently that you didn't even realize just how much you valued the opinion of a person about you, but it was to a fault. It was definitely to a fault, because you allowed their opinion to override what you knew about yourself, right? What you knew about yourself. And because of that, when that opinion turned sour, it flipped your whole self-image upside down. And I hope that you're watching this video already on the other side of that. If you're not, and you're still going through it, I assure you, if you reconnect with your innermost self, if you start to pray, or if you continue to pray, if you give yourself some time to rest, yes, rest. This is coming from a chronic overworker. Rest. Process. Allow your nervous system to calm down. A lot of us are living in just a chronic state of fight or flight. And we don't need to keep doing that. We don't need to be neurotic in order to anticipate what everything else could become, right? How things can go wrong. We can actually be calm and have faith that things are working out, right? Like that's both. It's the same energy, but on two different ends of the spectrum. Neurotic warrior, having faith that things will work out. Why not just be over here, right? We're using the same imagination to be neurotic, so why not just do that, right? We're becoming very powerful in ourselves. Yeah. We're becoming very powerful. I feel like you may be stepping into even a level of confidence in yourself to where you're noticing, let's say if you're like walking past some people, you're noticing that the previous version of you would have been like very self-conscious about how you walked and this and that. But now you're really stepping into that version of you that's like, no, I actually know that I'm strong. I know that I'm healthy. I know that I'm it, right? I know that I'm him, or I know that I'm her, right? If you're a woman. And it's because you've built such a strong foundation within the work that you've already done in yourself, to the point where you're like, no, this is now my foundation is unshakable, right? To some of us, that comes later on in life. I recently turned 28, right? Just hitting my Saturn return years. So, yeah. But if you're blessed enough to already be confident enough in that regard, then more power to you, you know. Just know that that's probably not the norm, and you're very blessed. That's another thing. I feel like a lot of us are really stepping into this calm sense of faith because it's beyond just believing that we're blessed. we literally see, we feel all the ways that we are so blessed. We're so blessed. Right now I'm at the beach. Could I be doing something else? Yeah. Just a year ago, today, I was in some fucked up situation. 2 years ago, it was even worse. But now I'm at the beach because I feel like it. Recording a video because I feel like it. At the end of my day off because I felt like having a day off. Right? And this may be energy that you're stepping into as well. The feeling of, hey, I don't actually need to work myself to the bone. Like, this whole hustle culture thing, it has a nice ring to it. Like, especially if you are coming from a lazy background, right? I'm not really sorry about saying that because, I mean, I've been lazy. I've had a period in time where I was lazy, so, but then you get right? You discipline yourself. So if you come from a lazy background, then that whole no sleep 5-6 hours, and then run 1 to 2 hours in the morning, and then go lift weights, and then go train martial arts, and then meditate, and then do breath work, and then cold plunge, and then read, and then meditate, and no days off, because if you have a day off, then your competition is jumping ahead of you. So no days off. No. I feel like you're stepping into the version of you that knows, hey, whatever I'm going to be manifesting in my life, it wants me. It wants me just as much as I want it. And I'm right on pace to go get it. In fact, we are actively creating the feeling within ourselves of already attaining it, of already living in that state of, having what we desire, right? For those of us getting into manifestation and whatnot, I recently started getting into manifestation, and it's worked wonders, especially since I'm someone who has an overactive imagination. So manifestation has a lot to do with what we imagine. Yeah, so with that said, wow. There's so much I can say on this. I even forgot the topic of the video. But yeah, we're becoming very powerful. Oh yeah, don't dim your light for others, right? Instead, inspire other people to shine because you're shining brightly. We don't need to keep people pleasing. What we need to do is strengthen our own self-image. And from there, let the chips fall where they may. Some people might like us. Some people, you may even have realized this too. At your worst, you had people who liked you and who didn't. And at your best, you had people who liked you and who didn't. So the moral of the story is that you will have people who like you and who don't. So you might as well do that, being yourself, than being a curated, watered down version of yourself. Maybe curated is not the right word, right? But a watered down version of yourself, a toned down, dimmed down version of yourself, for the sake of, oh, I hope that I'm not too much. I hope that my feelings, that's a trauma response. Feeling like like your authentic self is too much is a trauma response. You know, it points to having unavailable parents or unavailable caretakers or emotionally immature caretakers who invalidated your emotions, right? And that's a whole other topic, right, that we could talk about. But yeah, we're going up. And I look forward to sharing something else with you very soon.